Right now at 10, judges order the Trump administration to continue funding SNAP. How that decision will impact Wisconsinites on food share. And the Madison Police Department provides an update on a school investigation, why they say a viral social media post allegation is false. Plus, an injured Madison police officer is going home. How you can help Officer Ryan Kimberly and his family on his road to recovery. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke. Sarah is off tonight. We begin as two federal judges have ordered that President Trump must continue to fund SNAP during the government shutdown. That ruling comes hours before the USDA planned to freeze payments to SNAP. That reversed a department plan before the shutdown that said money would be tapped to keep the program funded. The judges expect updates on the administration's progress with its compliance with that ruling on Monday. Attorney General Josh Kaul signed off on one of those lawsuits on behalf of the state of Wisconsin. Our Tenacious Shaw shows us the impact of the rulings here in Wisconsin.
All eyes are on two court rulings made on the East Coast Friday.
One calls on the federal government to resume payment to explain by Monday how, this is the Massachusetts ruling, how they will resume SNAP payments. And the judge left open the question as to whether the resumed payments would be full or only partial. The Rhode Island judgment is more open-ended, but calls on the government to produce to funding for SNAP benefits out of the contingency funds.
Howard Schweber is a political science professor at UW. He says even though judges in Massachusetts and Rhode Island say that President Donald Trump must fund SNAP, people will still deal with the delay in benefits regardless.
Neither of those things will happen before Saturday when the benefits run out. So at a bare minimum, there will be a gap. After that, what will happen is entirely unclear.
Both parties have publicly blamed each other for the shutdown that started on October 1st. But the federal judges are specifically arguing what should be done during the shutdown.
But the legal argument that the administration is making that it's not able to do what Congress said they should do, which is to make use of a contingency fund in this situation.
Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul is one of the 25 lawyers that filed the lawsuit.
The quicker that leaders come together and can ensure that there is funding provided and reopen the government, the less harm there's going to be to Wisconsinites and the American people.
News 3 Now is continuing to follow the impacts that the pause could have on the state of Wisconsin. For more than a week now, we spoke to politicians, business owners, food pantry organizers, and people like you that say any delay in benefits will be tough on the community.
Either complain about the funding issue or survival issue.
Really devastating that people are waiting because there's lack of access out there.
And how am I supposed to eat and get food if I don't get my food share?
It's going to be quite a ride to try to keep up.
It does make me nervous.
If you're in need of resources, you can always call 211 at any time. Reporting in the newsroom, Tenacious Shaw, News 3 Now.
And we'll have continuing coverage throughout the weekend. Tanisha, thank you. Now to our forecast, Blaze. There were a few showers out there tonight. Will we see more of that into the weekend?
Into Saturday for sure. We're still not done with that rain as this low pressure system that moved in earlier today continues to fall apart. But the expanse of the rain really has now limited itself to parts of Jefferson, Columbia, as well as Dane County. So stretching from Fort Atkinson north into Lowellville, that's where we have some of that rain. We'll take it into Columbia County first and work our way south and eastward. Hamden into East Bristol. That's where we find more of that light to moderate rain activity around York, Pierceville. Now we're on the east side of Dane County, right outside of Cottage Grove, Deerfield, London, Lake Mills, into Jefferson, further south and east into Hebron, as well as Palmyra there in parts of Jefferson County. This is going to continue to kind of just slowly make its way off towards the east-southeast as we go throughout the rest of this evening. We also find a little shower there in the panhandle of Vernon County. Now, we'll continue to watch as some of these showers may gradually and briefly turn over to a light rain-snow mix, but as we head into more of the late morning hours into the early afternoon, we should start to see a lot of this rain wrap up. And then we're going to stick with partly cloudy conditions to end Saturday, but the clouds will return a little bit into Sunday along with some breezy conditions. Temperatures tomorrow not looking to be too warm, into the mid 40s, so a little bit cooler than those low 50s where we should be for this time of year, but the low to mid 50s do return. We're tracking it in the full forecast.
All right, Blaze, thank you. The Madison Police Department says a social media post accusing staff at Whitehorse Middle School of sexually assaulting a child is false. The department says says the allegations were not based in factual evidence and that they were distracting and potentially harmful to the investigation and to people who weren't actually involved. A statement from the department says there is actually a significant amount of evidence that directly contradicts the allegations. Well, today, the Madison police officer who was seriously injured in a crash while on the job is out of the hospital. After 35 days of treatment, K-9 officer Ryan Kimberly is going home. On September 27th, the officer and his partner, K-9 Freddie, were hurt while responding to reports of a truck driving erratically. Staff at the Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital in Fitchburg, along with fellow first responders, lined the halls to send him off. A fund has been created to help Officer Kimberly and his family while he recovers. A link to that can be found at our website, channel3000.com. Well, next at 10, your complete forecast. And level 2 of the high school football playoffs, moments away. Andrew will have the final drive. And healthcare premiums are set to rise next year. How much will they increase for Wisconsinites? Stay with us for the answer.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
This week, Governor Tony Evers released the 2026 healthcare premium rates for Wisconsinites, and based on increased rates approved by the Trump administration and the Enhanced Affordable Care Act tax credits not being extended, many Wisconsinites will see their premiums double, with some seniors seeing an increase of over $30,000 per year. The 2026 open enrollment period for healthcare coverage starts tomorrow.
I think what it's going to do is make a lot of people reevaluate which plan they're actually picking, because odds are there'll still be something that's affordable. There may be people might choose to go with a different insurance network, a different provider network, just to make sure that they can afford those monthly premiums.
The Affordable Care Act tax credits are set to expire at the end of the year. According to KFF, 78% of Americans support extending the tax credit. Now to your complete forecast. Southern Wisconsin with some rain out there today, but Blaze, I suspect not enough of a dent in our drought monitor.
No, not nearly enough, Eric. And folks at home, we really haven't seen our normal amount of rain since really September. So as we look ahead to the next couple of weeks, we really don't see a whole lot of soaking rain. We could squeeze out some showers through Saturday morning and then again Sunday night. But in terms of meaningful rain, we will unfortunately be lacking that over the next 7 to 10 days. Mid-40s on Saturday, that morning rain chance especially, maybe even a few snowflakes, and staying mostly cloudy. Winds are going to be light out of the north. They turn out the southwest for Sunday, bumping up our temperatures into those upper 40s to low 50s. We will see some rain here and there, and some sunshine here and there. The rain holds off until overnight Sunday into Monday. You'll see that here on Future Track. The low pressure system that brought us some rain tonight is continuing to fall apart as we go into Saturday. Again, mostly cloudy conditions. The better chance for rain is going to be further to the south on Saturday, especially into the second half of the day. Partly cloudy conditions overnight before we stay partly sunny to mostly cloudy on Sunday. Winds turning out of the south and west and breezy, and that's all ahead of some rain that moves in overnight into Monday. This is going to be on the lighter side. We're looking at probably a quarter of an inch of rain at best, and we've only accumulated in the Madison area only just over 2.5 inches of rain over the last 2 months, so we definitely need a lot more, and it's unfortunately not in the forecast. Temperature-wise, though, we're hanging out in the mid-50s Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Then we're back into the low 50s to round out next week. And here's a look at that 7 and 10-day forecast. Again, minimal rain chances out there. We may squeeze out a few showers there by Friday and Saturday of next week, but that's very far into the future, so some things may change, but we'll keep our fingers crossed because we definitely need some of that rain as we head into these next couple of months before the ground freezes, because all that rain that we can get before the ground freezes will only help us as we go into the upcoming spring.
All right. Blaze, it was a pretty good night out there. Yeah. It actually held off for most areas for high school football. It is level 2 time in the high school football playoffs. The final drive starts now.
The high school school football playoffs roll on, and so do we. Welcome into the final drive. Level 2 is here. I'm Andrew Banstra. Let's get right into it. We started Wanakee, where the top-seeded Warriors needed overtime last week to beat an 8 seed, and not only to advance, but to preserve an undefeated season. But this week was a different story through some heavy rain. Look at that. Wanakee leading 13-0 and looking to add to it. Hey, how about this? A Wisconsin Badger football commit, and they could use him. McCoy Smith, he's off to the races with one of this. A hat trick of touchdowns for number 11 through the rain, no problem whatsoever. And the Warriors move on to level 3 with a 20-0 victory. Elsewhere in Division 1, our other 2 teams that were left were unable to advance. Middleton loses to Badger, and Verona can't advance. They lose to Franklin 42-20. To Division 2, where Monona Grove looked to keep its grip on a season that has been fantastic. The Silver Eagles have been dreaming of this one for years, but it doesn't get any easier in the postseason. MG trying to move on to level 3 for the first time since 2018, and these Eagles, they can do it on both sides of the ball, leading 7-0 in the second quarter, and the defense does their job. Nick Gallagher with the sack, Owen Haddon with the recovery, and they just kept stopping all Germantown momentum like this. Later in the quarter, the Warhawks looking to score, but not on Luke Schwab's watch. The interception would turn into points, and more Luke Schwab highlights. As the clock expired in the first half, Jackson Zakowski zips one through the air and through the snow. You heard me right, the snow, just a little bit of it, but that didn't bother Luke Schwab. He shows off his hands once more, and the Silver Eagles fly on to level 3, 28-14, the final score. Sliding down to Division 3 for our first friendly fire in level 2. 2 of our very own going against each other in a good old-fashioned Southwest Wisconsin showdown. Edgewood, whose lone loss came in the final week of the regular season, hosted Reedsburg. The Beavers made it to this stage last year and lost by a single point, but the top-seeded Crusaders leap into level 2 for the first time since 2011. The Beavers were chomping at the bit from the opening kickoff. Colin Wolf forces the fumble, and Callan Barker falls on it. They turn it into points right away. Would Reedsburg hand off to Will Zakonowicz, and no one is stopping number 2. He's off to the races. See you later. Reedsburg takes the early lead and would add to it. Still leading 7-0. Make it 14-zip. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Give it to Zakonowicz again. Edgewood would find some offense later. Gannon Bagstead finds Will Kelly for the house call, but it would not be enough. Reedsburg knocks off the top-seeded Crusaders 20-12, the final score. And we send it to Nash Dara, who had a fantastic game on his hands.
Well, Andrew, we are staying in Division 3. Mount Horeb hosting a Burlington squad who limped into the playoffs but are looking to write their own Cinderella story. They had an upset win in level 1, but Mount Horeb has every intention of stomping on their glass slipper on Halloween as we fast forward early to the third quarter with the Vikings already up. Watch this. Brooks Hendrickson unleashes a bomb and finds his man Hayden Anderson for the score with the toe tap. What a pretty looking throw there from Hendrickson to find his man. The next drive, Mount Horeb would look pretty similar with a big play, but this time it would be on the ground as Jack Wilson would get some good blocking up front and not be touched to take it all the way to the house. Mount Horeb would go on to win 42-14 and has a chance at level 3 revenge against Catholic Memorial next week.
Nash, I see what you did there with the toe tap and the glass slipper. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. We've got plenty more in Division 4, where getting this bus to stop is no simple task. The bright lights of level 2 are nothing new for the C bus. Columbus has not lost since week 2, and they didn't intend to change that this evening. On the opening kickoff of the game against Delavan Darien, how about this? Mowbray Jordan to the house. The phone's ringing. He's picking it up every single day of the week, and he could go all the way. Mowbray Jordan all the way back with a 96-yard return for the touchdown. But Columbus was just getting started. Delavan Darien trying to get something going. And who is that man? It's the same exact guy. Mowbray Jordan intercepts it, and if you didn't learn the first time, you're going to learn this evening. Mowbray Jordan is not going to be stopped, and he helps Columbus roll on to Division III as they go on to win it 56-21, the final score. Elsewhere in Division IV, Evansville sees a great season come to an end. They lose to Mosinee 19-7, and same story for Lake Mills. They lose to Racine St. Cat's 12-6, the final. One more in D4. Platteville knocked off Lodi last week, but they can't pull off another upset. Baldwin Woodville wins it 61-27. Down to Division V, New Glarus continues a fantastic season. They knock off Racine Lutheran, winning it 39-13. To Division VI for a Week 6 rematch between two of our very own, Darlington and Fenimore. The Redbirds got the best of the Eagles last time around, but in the playoffs, anything goes, especially when you have two teams that scored 50 points apiece last week. The Golden Eagles started off on offense and showed some grit early, handing the ball to Reese Kelsey, who pulls out his peanut butter cup, shakes a couple of tacklers, and Fenimore all the way to the 30, but unable to get the points on the board they needed. Darlington, who missed a field goal on their first drive, didn't miss getting points on their second. A pitch to Parker Mosley almost turns into a disaster with a bobble, but it turns into a touchdown instead as he takes it 40 yards for the score, and it would be a whole lot more of that for the Redbirds this evening as Darlington stays perfect, winning it 35-6. Staying in Division VI, where if we know one thing about Belleville, and we learned it very well last year, they have no problem playing the spoiler in the postseason. The 7 seed knocked off Marcus Sand last week, handing them their first loss of the season. And tonight in Crandon, the Wildcats wanted more. Check this out. Cooper Nemec gets the first score of the game, no problem. And then later, they'd get it done through the air once more. How about this? Moving along for the first down and then going to the ground game. It's Marcus Hebgen, and they go on to win it big time, 28-20. And once again, Belleville playing the spoiler. They're off to level 3. Staying in Division VI, Poinette was so good this year, but they just ran into a buzzsaw this evening in Edgar, losing 42-0. Finishing up in Division VII, where if we did games of the week in the postseason, I'd say this would be it. The reigning state runner-ups, Potosi-Cassville, traveling all the way across our region to play Johnson Creek, and you know this one would be a thriller, or would it? Potosi-Cassville showed off their pedigree right away. River Star rafts his way to the end zone, making it 6-0 Chieftains early, and later PC would find another partner in the backfield. It's Hunter White hunting the score, and he gets his prize. 12-0 Chieftains, and they wanted to make a statement. They weren't okay with just 12-0, so this time they go to Hunter White once more, this time on the screen pass, and he finds the end zone once more. Potosi is right back where they belong in level 3, winning it 48-28. Elsewhere in Division 7, Cashton, this is a shocker, hands Blackhawk Warren their first loss of the year, 34-28, and another shocker from another fantastic team from our area, Seneca Wazeeka Steuben. They lose 20-22. Hilbert comes out on top. But we are just getting started. Still to come in sports, Wisconsin volleyball hosts Nebraska. We've got the highlights next on News 3 Now. When Wisconsin and Nebraska meet on the volleyball court, you drop everything. Grab your popcorn and maybe some earplugs, too. I needed them. It was loud in the field house this evening, as it should be, for one of the best rivalries in sports. And the first set lived up to the hype. Una Vajic can't get it over the net, but Grace Egan can. How good has number 32 been since coming back from injury? Incredibly good. She gets the point for the Badgers, and later it is her outside hitter mate, Mimi Collier, answering the call every day of the week. She gets it done. The Cornhuskers can't get it back over the net, but eventually Nebraska would show why they are the top-ranked team in the land. They'd get it done, sweeping the Badgers at the Fieldhouse. You just don't see that very often. You'll see them get a point here, and the Badgers fall 3-0. Well, speaking of rivalries, it doesn't get much better than Wisconsin and Minnesota. You throw some skates and a puck into the mix, and you get the best product that you can pay for. Now, the Badgers haven't lost a single game since the national championship game in 2023. They went undefeated last season, and early on, there was no reason to think that that would change this evening. Cassie Hall with her 11th goal in her 11th game of the season. 7 minutes into this one, and the Badgers looking right where you would expect a Mark Johnson squad to be. It was 1-1 through 2 periods, but in the third period, the unthinkable would happen. Tied at ones, and Minnesota takes the lead they would never give back. The score looks a little askew when you look at it. It's 5-1. Minnesota is the final. Now, Wisconsin did pull their goalie late, but nonetheless, they were handed their first loss in a long time. 5-1, the final score. Halloween-themed note. The Wisconsin women in their trick-or-treating days. That was Cassie Hall, this Lacey Eden. And how about this? Just an incredibly fun sight on a night that was pretty disappointing for the Badgers on the ice. That, of course, a big-time throwback, but we had to throw some spooky into it, too. Speaking of Halloween, a couple of weeks ago, Wisconsin football, they decided to give their teammates a pretty big scare. I'm not quite sure what kind of Halloween deal that is, but it does look pretty spooky, and you can't blame the guys for looking like that. I mean, I think that if somebody hopped into this studio right now, I would feel the same way. And by the way, we're headed to a Game 7 in the World Series. The Blue Jays can't get the job done, but the Dodgers can. We'll talk about that a little bit, but some other stuff more so when we come back to News 3 Now. The best 2 words in sports, Game 7 tomorrow night. Dodgers, Blue Jays. Who do you got?
I got the Blue Jays. We were talking. It would be kind of devastating if the Blue Jays lost 2 at home, up 3-2. So I think they pull it off tomorrow night. They need to.
Either way, I'm grabbing my popcorn. Thanks for watching News 3 Now at 10. We will see you tomorrow morning.